At the age of 15, when she gave birth to her daughter, she imagined that any hope of being the first in her family to go to college was doomed. Fast forward 2 years, and the now 17-year-old, with her 2-year-old in tow, began her first year at Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. Today, this passionate advocate for educational opportunity is the Assistant Vice Chancellor for External Affairs at her alma mater, working tirelessly to remove barriers to higher education, access, resources, and supports for historically underserved, underrepresented populations, specifically Black and Brown communities. She's the epitome of resiliency, determination, and the power of making a way out of no way, or at least what might appear as no way at first. Please join me in SIUC's Assistant Vice Chancellor, Tania Wittgenfeld King, in the arena right now.
Here we go!
Assistant Vice Chancellor. I like that title. How are you today?
I'm good,
this
thank
evening? You and I have been working on a project we'll talk a bit about later. But for the sake of this, let's introduce you to our audience. Let's begin at the beginning, where we always do. When and where were you born?
Well, thank you first for the opportunity to be here. I was born in Harvey, Illinois, just right outside of Chicago.
Tell me about the man and woman who created you.
Okay, my mom and dad. All right, well, my dad is Wesley and my mom is Susan. They met back in 1975, got together. They are an interracial couple. So you can imagine back then what that was like, being an interracial couple and raising some biracial kids. And so my mom had a daughter already when she met my dad. And so together, after they were married, they had 4 more children. And so my dad is an artist, he's a musician, he was a guitarist, he could draw anything, and he was very innovative. He could make anything. We called him contraptions.
I love it.
He loved to make things and things that you would never think of. And my mom, she at the time was a homemaker. And she, once my dad and my mom split, she went and got her GED as well as her CNA certificate.
Nice.
And did home care.
Nice. And you talk about your siblings. Tell me about, where are you in the flow of siblings?
Yeah, I'm next to the baby.
Okay.
And she was a oops child. My mom had her tubes tied.
She was a special, she was a miracle.
A miracle baby, yes, a
she
miracle
was, this
baby.
is happening.
That's right, and so sweet and so beautiful. She had her 7 years after me, so yes, our miracle baby,
Okay.
Desiree.
Desiree, hi Desiree, how are you? Where did you go to high school?
Ooh, I went to Thornton High School.
Was it a straight to and through?
No, actually it wasn't. So Thornton High School, I'm a Wildcat. I went to high school, let's say 94. Unfortunately for us, our family didn't really value education. They valued hard work, just not higher education and education in general.
Sure.
And so I dropped out my freshman year of high school. And so it was then, I was hanging with the wrong crowds and just doing what the rest of my friends were doing in my family. And so I found out I was pregnant, and that kind of scared me straight.
How old were you when you found out you were pregnant?
So I had my daughter at 15, so somewhere in between 14 and 15.
Okay.
And so although I had dropped out of high school, I knew that if I wanted to provide a better family and upbringing for my daughter, higher education or education period would be the way to go. And so I went back to school. I went to 0 period and summer schools, and I'm so grateful that I was able to finish on time and graduate with the rest of my class.
Wow. And when you graduated with the rest of your class after dropping out and becoming a mother, you became the first in your immediate family to graduate high school.
That's right.
We're not talking about first-gen college, we're talking about first-gen high school.
Yeah.
when you and I talked about that previously, and the love with which you talk about your family, and hard work, but the exposure to education and higher education, and in our own families, I'm from a family where you have to make choices for survival and keeping the family afloat. Unfortunately, education, especially higher ed, falls lower and lower on the list. So I just want to mark this moment. And I want to talk about it a bit. What was it in you? Because while your parents and family loved you, that wasn't in their purview of education. They would have been fine, I suspect, if you did not complete high school and you just worked hard and built a life.
Yeah.
What was it in you? What were external influences that propelled you to, with a child, go back and complete not only your high school education, but then to matriculate into SIU Carbondale?
Yeah, good question. I think that it was a village. You know, there were a lot of people that were cheering me on and helped to remove the barriers so that I could be successful. My family not having a lot, it really, I looked towards my boyfriend at the time, his family. So they had a very great family structure. The parents were married still, 3 boys, 3 girls, and they welcomed me with open arms. And so with that, even though I had my daughter, I was still able to play sports. I played basketball, I did shot putting, I was in drama. I did a lot of things that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to do otherwise. And so Mr. and Miss Estes were there and were like my second parents. And I remember she would watch my daughter Alexis or even bring her to the game so I could play basketball and still kind of do things like other high school students did. I attribute a lot of the team sport to just building, helping to build a well-rounded individual in myself. And so, you know, that and just having people to believe in me, I think really helped me. For me, I think sometimes I have people that ask me that question, like, what makes you different from someone else? And I don't know that it's much more than just the grit. I had a lot of grit and determination. I was determined not to become a statistic. I was determined to provide a better upbringing for my daughter than the one that I had.
My goodness. So let's talk about when you and Alexis, 17-year-old Tania, 2-year-old Alexis, packed your things and went to SIU to begin your undergraduate experience.
Wow.
Tell me what it felt like on the first day when you settled into family housing.
Yes, family housing.
Tell me about the first day, and then walk me and our viewers through some of the key experiences over the course of that 4 years.
Okay. Well, let me back up just a little bit, because what's interesting is I never even thought about college. I wanted to finish.
High school was the deal.
Yes. And I'll never forget, a counselor said, you know, they have this college tour coming up. It was $40. And so I spent my $40. I went down to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale, and I fell in love. I think I went to a Kappa Carnival, and that was my first. I said,
listen,
sign me up.
Whatever this is, yes.
I want to be there.
Isn't that something?
It was a lot of, it seemed like the place for me. And they offer family housing. And so they were like, oh, you can bring your daughter with you. Because I think that was one of the biggest fears, leaving her, or not even being able to come because of those responsibilities. Yeah. And my family and my daughter's father, their family would have watched her. But for me, I didn't want to leave her. Yeah. And so I remember that was the only school I applied for, and that was home. That's where I wanted to plant my roots. And I remember my mom drove me. She didn't have a lot, so I gave her gas money, and she took me down and took everything I owned and took me down to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale. And so it was a great experience. It was scary. Sure. But one of the things while I was there is they had SIU Head Start. So they allowed, yes. So they allowed my daughter to go to Head Start, and she was turning 3. And so she went to SIU Head Start. So I could go on the campus. So I could go to school while she went to school. They had child care resource and referrals. So that helped to pay for daycare. I was a student employee on campus and worked for affirmative action. Listen, yes, the work study. It just really, I felt like this was where I belonged. And everything that I needed they had resources for me. And so it wasn't like, oh, you're a student, you're a parent, and this isn't for you. It's, oh, we welcome you. Everyone welcomed me. Faculty, when I didn't have a babysitter, I could bring her to class, things like that. And
that environment, and I want you to continue, but that is when we talk about creating space for first gen, non-traditional. It's not just saying come, it is changing or evolving the environment to make them feel welcome. You don't just drop someone in an environment that doesn't have support. So I love everything that you're saying. Continue.
Yeah, no, and I think it's not just about having access. It really is about the knowledge and that knowledge acquisition, making sure that once they get there, they have the tools they need to succeed, whether it's a first generation college student or a student parent, making sure they can navigate that experience. It's scary. And so fortunately for me, I came through a program called the Center for Academic Success. So I had a mentor. And that mentor took me around. She would come to my home. She would take me places. She made sure I had the tools and the resources that I needed to be successful.
My goodness.
And it really, really helped to have those extra resources. I worked for Affirmative Action, and I used to deliver mail. And at the time, I met my first higher education mentor. His name was Dr. Seymour Bryson. And he just really made sure that students like myself had access to the resources we needed to be successful. And he was tough on us, and he taught us we had to work twice as hard. Nothing would be given to us, but to stand strong and to work hard because we were the future leaders.
He believed in you enough to tell you.
He did. And he was very tough and very humbling. I've had a few times where he called me in the office
and I had a humbling experience.
But I appreciated that because I didn't.
Did you appreciate it then?
Yeah.
Even then?
Even then.
Good.
Even then. Even tears flowing down my face. Dr.
Like,
Bryson. He was tough.
He believed in you.
But I needed that.
Yeah.
I needed that. I was used to making some decisions that may not have been the best decisions.
Sure.
And so with him, it was, okay, you made this wrong choice. Now you correct it. And then let's keep moving.
Ooh.
And so he made sure that I paused and I understood why that was wrong, why I needed to do better. And then
so you weren't destined to repeat it.
Yeah.
My.
So very powerful mentor for me.
And when you walked across the stage to get your diploma, where was Alexis?
Oh, she was right there. She's right there.
Did she feel like an alum as well? Did she, wait, where did Alexis went on to college?
Yes.
Where did she go to college?
She went to Southern Illinois University at Carbondale as well.
The place where you went and where she was on campus from about 2 to 5 or 6 years old?
Yeah, even longer, because I ended up doing my undergrad and master's there.
Come on.
Yeah. So she's a Saluki, born and bred.
Through and through. She got it honestly. Oh, I love that. I love that.
So to back up a little bit though, I had a second child.
During college?
During college, yeah. I know. I know.
There is not a judgment here.
I know.
This is, listen, I'm going to tell you something. You are a full-fledged human being living a full life.
Yeah.
Now walk us through it.
I had my second daughter at 19, and I was a sophomore in college then. And so
and that would be Diamond.
That would be Diamond, yeah. And so she's from Carbondale. And, I think it was the second one that just really just, I had to straighten up and act right.
You were like, this feels like God is trying to tell you something. Okay.
So, I don't regret, that at all. I think for me, I made some decisions that I at the time felt were, they may not have been in line with my future, but it wasn't a mistake. So I'm like, don't worry, I got this. I have Lexi, now I have her, we got this. So that semester was rough because I had her in February of 2000, right in the middle of school. Yeah. So some of the classes I had to get an incomplete in, but my faculty members were phenomenal. They worked with me. They gave me an incomplete. I was able to finish over the summer. And so here I am, two children now.
Come on. The three of you just walking the campus.
I said, Lord, if you get me out of this, you get me out of this one. Just help me.
Just one more, Lord. and once again, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He did. And
but you got to do the work too.
Yeah.
You were doing the work.
Yeah, it's interesting because I remember my freshman year of college, not having anything, not having books or anything, barely knew about financial aid. That's where I met my best friend. I remember the first semester, 3 weeks into class, I was writing, just trying to keep up because I didn't have a book. And so I just got tired. I started putting my head down. And so she tapped me on the shoulder one day and said, hey, do you want to use my book? And I'm like, no. Then after a few minutes, I'm like, okay. Yes. And so since
we are also best friends now.
Yes. Since then, she hasn't been able to get rid of me.
Come on. You chose her.
Listen, yes. She chose me that day, and I chose her for the rest of my life. Yeah. So because, and she's from Chicago, first generation. We didn't have anything together.
Cover and confirmation.
Yeah, and so we
ain't have anything together.
I remember oftentimes I didn't have food.
Oh, come on.
She would go and get her, go into the cafeteria, pack it up, bring out food. Excuse me.
Take your time. Listen. And this is why you're gonna make me. Don't do it to me. Don't you do this to me. But I'm like, oh gosh. I'm gonna tell you something. I had a dear friend who is a best friend to this day. She's an actress, and she knew I didn't have food, and I had pride. And she was from a middle class family in Detroit, and she would leave food outside my mailbox. I just have too much. I have too much. I just have, and if I could give her, she would just go, don't make it a thing. Don't make it a thing. Eat. You love Chancellor. Eat.
Yes.
There's a can. But you just hit the nail on the head. It is, our experiences are unique, but there is a similarity, and this is why the village and the cover and confirmation and someone tapping your shoulder and going, hey, you no big deal. You want this?
Yeah,
take
that's
this.
right.
And that your best friend, who we have both chosen for you for life, that she did that. And again, I look at, from the opening, your path made sense. I would ask you your why, but I don't have to. I can ask you, and I'm going to, what was your first paid job after graduation?
Ooh. I worked for Rock Valley College, a community college. And I came out over the first year experience program. I was over...
of which you were an expert.
Yes.
You lived it.
Yes. A first year experience, over advisors twice my age, over the first year experience program and the class, over the faculty teaching the class. It was such an honor and a blessing. And I got that opportunity through the leadership of Dr. Seymour Bryson, because he paid for me to get my master's. And he said to me, I see your future in higher education. And I said, no, Dr. Bryson, I want to be a lawyer. I want to go to law school.
No, I have different plans.
He said, well, while you consider that you can become a graduate assistant, we'll pay for you to go to school. I want you to try this out.
My goodness.
And I loved it. I worked under his leadership for the Racial and Ethnic Minority Student Program, building programs for students like myself. And right out of my master's degree. In a leadership role.
And then going to your most recent, before your current, you were the Dean of Pathway Success at Dallas College in Dallas, Texas.
That's right.
I feel a theme. I feel a through line here. And somehow, SIU reached back to you while you were in Dallas going, you're one of ours. I'm just putting this narrative together. Tell me if I'm wrong. You're one of ours. You and your daughters ran this campus for about 5 or 6 years. Would you like to tell me how you made it from Dean of Pathway Success at Dallas College back here to your alma mater as Assistant Vice Chancellor?
Yes. What's interesting is about a year ago, SIU came to Texas. And they had an alumni event. And I said, what? what is SIU doing here?
Why y'all here?
Right across the street from where I live, downtown Dallas. I said, I have to go. And so that's where I met Chancellor Austin Lane and Associate Vice Chancellor Wendell Williams. And it was a small, intimate group. And I went and I was so passionate, as you can tell.
Yes.
And I shared my story and how much SIU did for me and how I'm just so proud to be a part of that institution. And so from there, that relationship blossomed. At the time, they were looking to get into Dallas College in the transfer, to build a transfer partnership. And I just happened to be over
How about that?
transfer at Dallas College. So it was a great relationship and it blossomed from there. So excited about the opportunity and to be here, to be able to give back and to pave the way for others that come behind me.
Oh, I knew it. It feels like we've been talking for 2 minutes. I could talk to you all day. You know I could. Tania, I am a firm believer in divine order and appointment. I am a firm believer that the greatest gift we can each get is to tap into our passion and do it, and do it from a spirit of servant leadership. And you are all of those things. You don't have to tell me, I'm going to tell you. You are all of those things. My goodness, I'm so glad our paths have crossed. We'll talk on the other side because Tasha, our floor director, is about to give me a wrap it up. So I'm going to beat her to the punch and go, thank you, beyond words. Thank you so much for sitting with me and our audience and conversation and community. What you are doing, not only in the work, but for young people and young at heart people watching this, understanding there's not one path to excellence and success, and a mistake does not define where you end up. So thank you for that. We're not done. We got one final segment. You're almost through. One final segment, 3 for the road, though. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Darius Hillman. Join me for an all-new edition of In the Arena, Tuesday, October 17th at 7 p.m., followed by the series premiere of
Every Day is a Yay! Hosted by me, Jewel Faguni. Join Darius and me Tuesday, October 17th, starting at 7 p.m. on CAN TV, cable channel 19, or stream live on cantv.org or on the CAN TV Plus app.
Experience the power of community television. How about that?
Yes!
Assistant Vice Chancellor Tania Wittgenfeld King. We are going to do our final segment here. It's called 3 for the Road.
Okay.
Careful now. It trips some people up. I don't know how, but it does. I'm going to ask you 3 questions.
Okay.
Maybe 5. You're going to give me 3 answers. You ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. First question. If you could have dinner with anyone living or deceased, who would you choose and why?
I have 2 people in mind.
You may give us both.
Okay, so one is Dr. Seymour Bryson, my mentor. He's no longer with us, but a very powerful person, a father figure of mine. Just to kind of talk to him about how does he think I'm doing and what is it that I need to do to continue to pave the way for those that come behind me. The other one is also a mentor of mine. She's a president at Century College. Her name is Angelia Millender, and she had such an impact on my life, not just personally, but professionally. She's helped me to navigate and just to really be able to have a voice. She taught me how to be a change agent. And one of the things that was so profound was that she said, Tania, man-made policy and policy can be changed. And that was so important to me as an up-and-coming leader. It meant that there was nothing that I couldn't challenge if it wasn't right for our students. There was nothing that I couldn't advocate for. And I could change that policy because if it wasn't right for our students, if it wasn't a fit, then that meant I could change that.
It's not a done deal.
Yeah, and so to be able to sit in conversation with her and just ask her so many questions, I think that for me, that's life-changing.
2 for 2.
2 for 2. Thank
Ready
you.
for question 3?
I am.
Wait.
Wait, 2?
That was 1. Horrible.
I took 2 people out of
You took
1,
it-
right?
that- still 1 question. Question 2. Any regrets?
No regrets. I think in life, we all have a path that we take. And so this path has gotten me to where I am today. And so I don't regret any ups and downs because it's made me who I am, and I'm stronger for it.
Final, but not really final question, because I know I have a few more. But let's say question number 3, 3 for the road. One piece of advice present-day Tania, Assistant Vice Chancellor, would give her 21-year-old self.
Wow. I think that I would give myself advice is not to listen to others' judgment or worry about their judgment. I think for me, one of the things that made me so vulnerable is that society would judge me all the time. So I didn't feel like I had a safe space to share my story. And so for the longest, I would only share it with students or people where I felt like, okay, I feel like they would be accepting of me. Years ago, I wouldn't even tell the places that I worked for that I had children because I didn't want that to define what they thought of me or what my ability was. And so I would tell my younger self, don't worry about that. Be fierce, be audacious, and really, share your story because you never know what it can do for someone.
Your story is your superpower.
That's right.
I've got one more.
Okay.
I knew I was going to have. Who is Abdul King? Who is this man?
Interesting. Yes, Abdul King. That is my husband. That's my best friend. I met him in college, and we were friends for about 5 years before we actually dated. Strictly just friends. And so he knew what he was getting into. He knew he knew about the girls, and he was accepting of that. And so very grateful to have him in my life because he is one of my biggest cheerleaders. He's loved me and my girls unconditionally. And I say, if he could put up with me, 2 girls, and a female cat.
No judgment, but woo!
I know it.
That's a good man, Abdul.
Hats off to him
Yes.
because he's been there every step of the way. He's seen my journey, and he pushes me. He's out there, Tania, this is what you need to do. Share your story. Help make an impact with others because you never know what sharing your story can do. And so just very, very happy and grateful to have him in my life.
You got your lobster. Tania, I cannot, let me give you your propers. Assistant Vice Chancellor, Tania Wittgenfeld. Thank you. We are working on together right now, and it will air in 2 nights after this, a special edition of Change Agents, Education Matters, Closing the Race Gap. And we are bringing educators from around this area together. And you are helping to produce that program. You'll be co-hosting it with Sufyan Sohel. And thank you for that, the partnership. When I'm learning, just your commitment as you're working on that, the questions, making sure we're asking the right questions to get answers that will impact and support student scholars. Your work on all levels is authentic and real. So hearing everything you just said here to me only underscores what I already know from the weeks we've been working together on this. They are very fortunate to have you. We are very fortunate to have had this time with you. So I want to say thank you. I just want to say thank you, Chicago and beyond, for tuning in tonight. Let me leave you with a final thought for the road, courtesy of American scientist and inventor George Washington Carver. Education is the key that unlocks the golden door to freedom. Until next time, take good care of you and each other. Good night.